right, he is the most popular New Jersey governor the state has ever had, Republican or Democrat. I am not talking about Chris Christie. This is true. No one is held in higher regard for holding that office than this next gentleman, Tom Kean. A Republican who Democrats respected, Republicans admired, and the state itself functioned actually quite well. So with that impeccable gravitas going for him, no surprise that the president chose him to author a 9/11 Commission report, get to the bottom of what happened, breakdown in communication with Erskine Bowles, and try to get this in some sort of a sense of what happened. Not Erskine, on that separate report, but this idea of what could it happen again. The good governor, Tom Kean, with me now. I'm wondering, Governor, with that, you expressed fears that we're missing things again, or we're not to the point that it could be another 9/11, but we are just missing things. Like what?
Well, we're not. To me, Lee Hamilton and I wrote an op-ed the other day that said basically we're concentrating so much on military that we're not really putting all the other weapons in our arsenal to work, and that we're not going to win this war militarily, not unless we win it on the ground and also ideologically. I mean, we've got the better story to tell. We've got to get that story across.
But young, impressionable men, largely men who buy the line that we're evil, don't hear that story.
No, they don't, and that's what we got to remember. They've got a strategy. Their strategy, for instance, when they do an attack, is to hope everybody gets scared, and life doesn't go on normally, and our economy suffers, and all of that.
Yeah.
So people living their own life normally is a weapon against these people. They also want to say it's a war between civilizations. Everybody hates Muslims. We're going to be the Crusaders. We're going to try to get the Muslims. So every time we do something in opposition to that, every time we work cooperatively with Muslims, every time we welcome Muslims into our society, every time we integrate them properly, that's a blow against al-Qaeda.
I was referring to your report and accidentally veering into the Debt Commission report when I quoted Erskine Bowles, so I apologize for that. But it must have been subliminal because both reports seem to have been ignored by both parties. More of your ideas were taken up, and Congressman Hamilton's. But the bottom line is I still see communication as a huge issue, Governor, and it came up even in these Paris attacks where they weren't communicating the urgency of these guys who are on the lam, as I saw even in Boston with the Sarnea brothers, where the local police were not aware of what intelligence was saying. I don't know who was right and who was wrong. All I know is communication breakdown. We saw it in London a couple of times, certainly saw it in Madrid. Why does that always happen?
It's difficult. We got 17 different intelligence agencies. People don't know that. And it's so vital they'll cooperate with each other. And the string has got to be seamless. In other words, if you or I see something on the street, and we tap the local policeman on the shoulder and say, hey, I think there's something wrong here. If that's serious, that's got to go straight up to the people in Washington, and action's got to come straight down, and it's got to be seamless. If somebody ignores what's happening, if somewhere on the string there's a stop, then we're in real trouble. That's what happened in 9/11. I mean, the FBI knew things, the CIA knew things, they didn't work together.
Well, I always hear from local police, Governor, at any city, any level, and even in Paris we're finding out, they're Rodney Dangerfields. They don't get the respect, and no one bothers to communicate with them. And it's even played out in TV shows, if you think about it. Yeah. Move aside, Sergeant, we're in charge here. And they feel it, and they resent it.
And they should resent it. Now, they're trying to do something about it. They're bringing groups of local policemen to Washington. They take them to the intelligence headquarters. They take them to the area where we look and see the whole surveillance of people coming into this country. They try to bring them in on the action. And then they've got local centers, which brings, in most states now, that brings leaders from the community together with the police, together with people from the federal level, so they to know each other and coordinate. So are they there yet? No. But is it better? Yes.
You know, a lot of people play the politics on this, Governor, all the time and say who's better positioned to pounce on this. Chris Christie, one of your successors, has said he is, as a former prosecutor, what he had to go through shortly after 9/11. Do you agree with that he's better positioned than other Republican candidates?
Look, I think Chris Christie is a very, very able guy. I know very few people on the stump who are abler than Chris Christie. And so he's positioned well. So are some of the others. I mean,
why doesn't he register in the polls? Maybe he will, like you said. But
I think he's doing better in the polls.
Yeah.
But there are some very competent people in here.
A lot of the money is going to Marco Rubio lately.
That's
what do you
right.
make of that?
Well, I think people see him as a young leader. I think a number of people think he's a good contrast to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
They have a young run against old, the new generation is the old generation. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. But a lot of people are going that direction. Governor Kasich, like Governor Christie, has been a very able governor. He's also been a
Even
very...
an able governor, even a consequential governor, whether you agree or disagree with what they did, that doesn't seem to help you.
No. But you know it should.
Yeah.
You know,
Does it bother you that it doesn't?
Yes, because president shouldn't be the only job in the country where no experience is necessary. One of the problems we have now...
You're not a fan of Donald Trump.
I am a fan of Donald Trump,
Really?
and an old friend of Donald Trump's.
He could go all the way.
He's had at least business experience running a very successful business.
So you could support him if you were the party's nominee?
I suspect so, but if he was a party's nominee...
You said, I suspect so.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it. I mean,
Really?
this is, to me, this is the most important presidential election, probably of my lifetime. The country's in some trouble. We got to do things economically. We got to do things on the terrorism front. We got to work in foreign policy. We need a really great president. And the reason I haven't endorsed anybody yet is because I want to make sure I get the right one.
You read my mind. You know, if you don't mind a personal question, Governor, and I wasn't blowing you smoke, I do think you were a very consequential governor, one of the best, and I think the best our state's had. And I say it in this regard, as a New Jerseyan, that, you know, you reached across the aisle, got things done. It wasn't easy to do. You didn't do it with a lot of bluster or bravado. You didn't curse at people and tell them to shut up or fling an ice cream cone in their face or whatever. So does it bother you at some level? And I know, you know, the whole Chris Christie protege thing, I understand the closeness to there. But do you resent some of the stuff? He's the best governor and the most successful, blah, blah, blah. It's all politics, I know, but does that bother you on any level?
Bother me that...
he's the greatest governor, and
oh no,
you don't get the credit.
Everybody's always the greatest governor, wouldn't necessarily. No problem. No problem with that.
But I mean, you think he's the first to reach across the aisle, but first to get something done with the other side.
But I do believe that's so important. I had dinner last week with my 3 Democratic Senate presidents when I was governor, and we were reveling in the fact we got so much done together, because we became friends across the aisle.
But you would think this is the first time it's happened. Well, you mean, I have great admiration for Chris Christie. He's a neighbor of mine. But you think he's the first Republican governor to do a lot of this stuff.
Well, no, a number of people. Democrats, some of them, have done that too. Kasich did it. No,
well, not Florio.
Well,
didn't happen with Florio.
No.
But you know, there's no bitterness. There's no, like...
No. And
there's a little. I think you're hurt. I think emotionally you're hurt.
Yeah, no, not at all. The nice thing is that you got friends on both sides of the aisle. And now having been governor, they're still friends. We still talk about it. We still sometimes work on some issues together that we both believe in.
Do you think anyone can ever get back to those kind of days where there can be camaraderie between both sides, a Reagan-type analogy where you work and you get things done together?
We have to.
I know we have to, but it's not done.
It's not a choice. I mean, we've got to... And we should be when it gets to the general election, we should be very careful to question the candidates on that subject. Are you going to reach out? Much more than this president has, more than the last president did. Reach out to the other side, have them to the White House, talk about these issues together, see where you can work out compromises, because the only way you're going to get something done.
Did you do that? Did you bring them to Trump, whatever the governor's home is?
And I went to them.
Yeah.
I went to their
Reagan got
hometowns.
drunk with them, I'm told, that he would get drunk with Tip O'Neill. Did you do that?
I never did that.
Really?
It's not to my memory.
Okay. To your memory.
If I did, I probably wouldn't admit it.
I say, I just wanted you to reveal something embarrassing to completely torpedo your reputation. It didn't work. Tom Kean, a real honor to see you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And both sides do say what I said, that in a day and an age where every side is at each other's throats, gentlemen, we got things done, a lot of things done.